Yeah, well, unfortunately in 1982 he took his life. He drove off to the bush and shot himself in the head, which was pretty traumatic for, of course, myself and the rest of the family.
And what do you think led up to that?
Look, a lot of things. Look, I think it probably started pre-birth. My father was quite a violent man, and I do recall my story about my brother whilst in the womb, being traumatised by my father pretty much throwing my mum down the stairs and also kicking her in the belly. So I don't think that was a very good start to life. And then, I guess being in an environment, a family environment where, violence, verbal abuse was the norm, that too didn't really add to a great childhood experience. So I suspect that fed into his depression and withdrawing into himself.
Did he seek treatment for his depression?
No, I don't think he did, not that I'm aware of. I think he just accepted it as normal, just kept it to himself.
Were you aware of it? Because I think you were 17.
I was 17 when he took his life, yeah. So I always thought of him as, a quiet, sort of unhappy guy, but had no idea that he'd considered suiciding.
And do you know if there were any particular events that led up to it?
Look, I don't know any specific events. There may have been a love interest there that had gone wrong, but nothing in particular, no.
And what happened to your family after Tony took his life?
Well, one of my brothers, he took it pretty hard because I guess he looked up to my older brother as a bit of a de facto father, a role model, sort of pretty much adored, worshipped him almost, and that really impacted him big time. He attempted suicide several times after that, in different ways. Thankfully, all the attempts were unsuccessful, and he's living a full and happy life now. And I have to say that a big part of that was because of medical people coming to his aid, psychiatrists and so forth, helping him work through that process. So yeah, it affected him quite substantially. And also my father, well, he was hit like a train. I just don't think he had any realisation of how impacting, his life had on us kids and on the rest of the family, on my mum. And so it was a big reality check for him. He went into depression himself, deep depression. I think he probably suffered from manic depression, bipolar. And so he spent quite a long time, it was months, if not a year, lying under a bed in the back shed. So he got out of that thankfully, but it did impact him in a big way.
So, I don't know if you know, but in Australia it was lithium treatment for bipolar was discovered here. There's a lot of research underway into mental illness. What sort of research would you like to see happen from your family perspective? What do you think's been lacking up to now?
Oh, look, I think that needs to be a multifaceted approach, not just medical, or not just, medicine, but also psychiatry. I know that includes medicine, psychology, a sociological look at things. Even the involvement of police, where there needs to be intervention. So, and there are probably other areas that need to be looked at, but I think it needs to be a holistic approach. Yeah.
And what message would you give to other families that may have had a recent suicide?
Oh, look, I think just grieve the way you need to grieve. If you need to get away, that's fine, but try and stay connected to people. And I think one of the things that really helped me was actually spending time with people who had been down that track before, because they can empathise, and that's the key. You need people who can empathise with you, not just say, I'm sorry this happened to you, and all that. People need to empathise with you. So if they can find people who've been down that track before, then that's really going to help them.
There's a real stigma with people talking about mental illness, and particularly suicide. Often a family won't even acknowledge that somebody did suicide versus, dying in a car accident or something like that. Why is it important that people actually talk about it?
Oh, look, I think it is therapeutic, but I think they're perhaps fearful that they won't be understood, that they'll be misunderstood. That maybe they're afraid of expressing how they feel, and that takes me back to my point before, that you really need to connect with somebody who understands. And yes, there are counsellors who understand, there are psychiatrists who are out there who understand, but you don't need to get necessarily professional help all the time. Just connecting with people who've been down that road before is really helpful.